Hello and welcome to another episode of AfternoonTeaV. My name is Doug.
And my name is Sarah.
Welcome, and today is going to be a bit different, as we probably did last week's, because actually the one that you guys are going to be listening to now is only going to be after a Batman vs. Superman podcast and then a Game of Thrones Season 2 podcast, because I have yet to put them up, but I will by the time you listen to this. So what we're talking about right now is actually going to be a little bit off the beaten path, where we're going to talk about Season 3 of Game of Thrones, but me and Sarah have come to a consensus that Season 3 just
Sucks.
It doesn't work for us.
It's not that great. So we can cover Season 3 in about 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about Season 4. But there's a lot going on in Season 4, so we really have to carefully put together our notes.
Yes.
If we're going to talk about it. Right.
So, first you got to catch up. Secondly, we got to keep together what everything is. I might have to do a refresher course because so much happened in Season 4.
Yes.
But that is going to be another podcast for another time.
So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about shows that were renewed for another season, or brand new shows that are coming out that we're excited about.
Yep.
Some of these were renewed for another season. They're actually currently airing.
Yes. Yeah.
But does it really matter? You guys are listening. Suck it up and deal with it. So.
Yes. Okay. Another moment of tough love from Sarah Brown.
Yeah. Well.
If I'm the sympathetic side, you were definitely the tough love.
Yeah.
Don't give me that. Don't do that.
So first on our list is the Astronaut Wives Club, which I know Doug doesn't know anything about.
No.
But it is based off of a book.
Really?
Yes. And actually, what's really funny is I was with you when I bought that book.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Doug and I go to Books A Million all the time and hang out. It's kind of like our hangout spot.
Which we haven't been to in a while.
I know. We need to make another trip.
When you're done moving.
Yeah. Which I'm moving tomorrow, so it was we need to get this podcast done.
Right, right.
Because I'm going to be busy opening boxes, and according to Matthew, making sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
He's like, woman, make me a sandwich. And I was like, I'll make you a sandwich, all right? A knuckle sandwich with extra mayo.
Here's your knuckle sandwich.
Yeah, with extra mayo, you bastard. Just kidding. So,
I'll show you.
Yeah, exactamundo. So... we needed to get this podcast taken care of beforehand.
Well, we wanted to do it for you guys as well, so...
Absolutely. So the Astronaut Wives Club is actually based off of a book, and it's actually based off of the wives of astronauts who were going on all of these Apollo missions. And of course, this was the first time that humankind had ever been able to really touch the stars.
Right. Right, it was a big, ambitious thing for everybody.
It was. The space race was a very big deal, and, of course, America got there first.
Yeah, gotta be classy.
Absolutely, because we're America. We made Coca-Cola and shit. So, of course, we made it to the moon first.
Right.
And... so this was basically about the wives of these astronauts that were going off and doing these tremendous things, these things that had never been accomplished before.
Kind of like Army Wives, just focusing on the female perspective of the human.
And it's also set in the 60s.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So it's a period piece and it's a period drama, which I feel is becoming more of a trend now, is to do period pieces. And I say that because, you have American Horror Story, which is actually next, I think, on our list. Kind of, sort of.
There's Once Upon a Time, but we could skip over, go to American Horror Story.
Oh, well,
I don't care, it's fine.
Well, I only say that because, Freak Show takes place in the 60s, and Asylum takes place in the 60s as well, I believe.
I could confirm that for you, but not offhand, because I actually didn't watch American Horror Story until Freak Show, but I only saw the first episode. Only thing I've actually seen more fully is the first season, and I'm always told, you need to see the rest of them. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, the rest of them are really great. But, I mean, even the first season, which is dubbed Murder House, that takes place in a couple different eras. But the other thing is, one of the biggest things, the biggest pieces, that was a drama that really kind of stuck out because it wasn't, it was the first show to start the trend, was Mad Men.
Yeah, which is not a show I actually watch. I know you do. But...
I love Mad Men with almost every fiber of my being. Like, I love Mad Men. And I will tell anyone all day long, when I go to tell people what the show is about, I go, automatically my first instinct is, God, nothing ever happens in this show. But then when I actually sit down and I explain what happens, I'm like, holy crap, so much has happened in this show.
Well, you see, this guy is a part of this thing, and then when he does this, they sit around, they drink scotch, they talk about what's happening, and that's all they ever do is talk about things. But by the next episode, I'm like, oh my God, that's probably you.
Yeah, a lot. So much stuff happens. And, Mad Men, I feel like, at least in television, was one of the first pieces to really
go the extra distance and
in
really...
terms of drama, period.
Yes.
Because it's very realistic, I feel, in terms of historical piece. Now, and I'm just speaking of American television. Obviously, the BBC and PBS, they're always doing historical pieces.
Absolutely.
But I mean... mainstream American
something
television.
That has been really good quality programming, that mainstream, like you said, something that's solid.
Yes, and I feel like, in my opinion, the first one to actually do it and do it well was Mad Men.
Right. Now, of course, that's not to omit that anyone else's opinion that, you think Mad Men? No, it was this show. No, of course.
This is the one that really just sticks out to me.
Right.
So, Astronaut Wives Club is going to be another historical piece, which I think is great because, like I said, there's a whole bunch of them coming out. Turn is a historical piece. Outlander is a historical piece. Marco Polo is a historical piece. What's another?
Tudors was one, but that's old. But
Tudors is old, but it still came out, I believe. Did it come out after Mad Men? Oh, I can't even remember now.
I think it was maybe a little time beforehand.
Maybe. But still, it was in that same, period piece. So I think that it's coming out just at the right time because Mad Men is ending.
Right.
It's on its final season.
It kind of gives you a stepping stone to go to something else. That, like Mad Men's ending, here's Turn, here's Astronaut Wives Club, here's, whatever else.
All of these different period pieces. But while I feel Mad Men is very much a male-oriented show, this is a very female-oriented show. So I'm hoping that it will be done with the same grace and polish.
Same kind of tact, same kind of personality and vision.
Mm-hmm. Right. So... Vision. I have very high hopes for it, but that's one that I'm very excited about. And the next one on our list is, yes, Once Upon a Time. I haven't watched Once Upon a Time in a hot minute, and I will tell you why. First season was really cool. It was so different.
That's the coolest thing you can say about a show. First season of anything, the first thing out of your mouth is cool, you did something good.
Because typically the first season is good, but it's not excellent. Typically it's like the second season or the third season or whatever that's really epic.
Right.
But no, Once Upon a Time was really different. It was cool.
You didn't think it was going to last, so you were like, I want to soak this up because they're the first time they're just combining all these fairy tales. It's going to last at least for as long as it should. But now...
Actually, what's really funny is I didn't even think it needed a second season. To be honest, once the spell broke, I felt, wow, you know what? That's a really great ending. I felt like it could have closed right there, and I would have been okay with it.
Okay, all right.
Once the curse was lifted and everything, I felt like that would have been a really great place to end it, and it would have been a really great mini series.
I believe so, because I have seen Once Upon a Time the first season. In fact, I've seen season 2, but that's where I stopped.
that's kind of what I watched like 2 episodes of season 3, but that season 2 is really where I want to say I stopped.
Yes.
And now they're just kind of grasping at straws, and any kind of character that they can
We're gonna try.
They incorporated Oz. They've incorporated Frozen. They've incorporated all of these different things, and
I have to groan at that.
They've done Peter Pan. They've done Cruella de Vil. They've done Ursula.
All the Disney characters.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's too much now.
I was with Erica when we went to Books A Million. Sorry, you have not been replaced, but I had to go. I was going through withdrawals.
I saw it. I saw it on Facebook. I saw you cheated on me. It's okay.
Is that true? There's no other woman, I promise. But I actually said this, and it's funny that we bring up Once Upon a Time like this because, honestly, I said the same thing that I told Erica, and I'm going to say it here. I felt like they were grasping at straws. I feel like it's a little drawn out at this point.
Yes, it's too much.
At least at this point, it's to say that, yes, you can still love the show. Yes, you can still be along with the adventure. But it's at this point where they're trying too hard to be cool.
Yeah. They're just trying too hard to incorporate everybody. And it just... Mulan, Sleeping Beauty, like, all these different people. Like, okay, I get it. I get why you would put that in there. But it's just... When you incorporate Frozen, when you incorporate Oz, which that's not Disney, BT dubs. When you incorporate all of these different things, like it's just too much.
And then they have to balance out the regular characters with the supporting characters and the little cameos and then the little, hey, this could be another supporting character, and it's overwhelming. It is.
It's a lot. And I'm just... Yeah, I'm kind of over Once Upon a Time, but it is coming back.
But one day, I can tell you right now, I will review that show, and I will see for myself, for sure, how they balance it all out. However, just all for Once Upon a Time, they all do what they do best, and then eventually they will end, and then when that time comes, I will be there to see what they've got in store.
Sure. Next show on our list is American Horror Story,
which we have just tackled, and I guess we can definitely say where we're at in that.
The actual theme is Hotel. It's going to be American Horror Story Hotel.
Season 5.
Lady Gaga is reportedly going to be in it.
How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it.
I mean, I have no quarrels with Lady Gaga.
I hated season 3. I hated Coven. Coven was horrible.
Really?
Yes, in my opinion, Coven just should not have been made. It was really just like, why make this? It was horrible.
What happened that made you just feel this way?
Because
How do you feel about that, dear? How do you feel about that?
American Horror Story is actually supposed to be like creepy, scary, diving into the unknown. We had Lily Rabe, who was basically a reincarnated Stevie Nicks. And she was just prancing around like, man, look at the flowers. Aren't they so beautiful? They're a part of all of us. What? All right, tree hugger, let's go. It was just too much. And it just, incorporating like voodoo and then witchcraft. And it was like a...
Was it like a sisterhood of some kind? Like
a coven is a sisterhood of witches.
Witches, okay. And I for some reason though I was thinking there were nuns involved somewhere, but
that's
maybe
Asylum.
Okay, all right then. See, because I have not seen season 2, I have not seen season 3, so I get them mixed up.
Yeah, no, season 2 is Asylum, and that's a Catholic-run asylum.
I thought that was incorporated in Coven for some reason.
No.
So.
Coven is just about witches, and then for whatever reason, there's a ghost of a serial killer. I mean, it just became really campy, and like I know you've seen the meme, surprise bitch, and it was just not very well done, in my opinion. Freak Show was good.
It had a very great, from the first episode that I've seen. I can agree. I think it was great just by going solely on one episode. But I loved how well made it was.
Yes.
I loved the psychological factor with the two-headed woman and how they really separated the two from being their own distinct personalities. I liked how they approached that.
Yeah. I mean, I have very high hopes for Hotel. I hope that they do it well and it doesn't become just some campy, like, oh, it's American Horror Story, so we have to push the envelope. Well, not necessarily. Not
you
necessarily.
can always go, like, if your last season was big and bold, unless you don't have a big and bold idea for the next one, you can always go small. Everyone's going to love it when it goes small.
Small and simple wins the day.
Yeah, because that's what season 1 starts off with. It's never a bad thing if you think you have to backtrack on scope.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah.
Let's see. Broadchurch.
Broadchurch. Now,
That's renewed for a 3rd season that's coming back.
What interests me about Broadchurch is kind of how you felt about Once Upon a Time season 1. After Broadchurch season 1 for me, I thought it could have just ended and I would have been fine with that.
Oh, for sure.
From what I understand, season 2 has sparked up some big, praise and stuff like that. Even if not praise, it's just that obviously they're being renewed for a 3rd season, so it's done something right.
Sure.
And I'm curious. Like, of course I'll watch it, but what is there else to do in the small town of Broadchurch?
Well, there's always going to be something else like going on, and like maybe they caught their own killer.
Right.
Maybe there's another huge murder that they need to investigate. My concern is that I don't want it to turn into a Midsummer Murders where every week another person gets killed. And it's like, at this point, there's no one left in the town.
Broadchurch, hyphenated, ghost town.
Exactly.
Season 5.
Season 5. Like, everyone's just going to be dead.
Right.
But yeah.
Then we'd have like a soap opera, Game of Thrones, like, oh my God. David Tennant says he's even getting tired of it.
I really just want to see David Tennant smile again.
And it's like, oh, let's go back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, I just want to see David Tennant smile again and call it a day.
Yep.
But okay, what's next? Better Call Saul,
which you have not seen, and I have not finished the season. I've actually only seen the first episode. I've
heard really good things about. Actually, I really haven't heard any bad things about it. Obviously, it's going to be very tough to beat Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Because Breaking Bad was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Saul is a very interesting character, and I feel like there's a lot of depth and scope that they can go into with his character. And so I'm very... Once I actually get to season 1, and now that they've renewed it for season 2, I'm sure that it can only get better with time.
Absolutely. So, but my question to you is, and from your perspective only, do you think Better Call Saul, as like Saul Goodman, which his name is actually Jimmy something, do you think he is that compelling of a character to have his own show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every scene that he was in with Walter, he always steals the show.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. I mean, as long as they keep that same charisma, I don't see why he can't have his own show. And
from what I've seen, just from this first episode alone, that charisma has never faltered, even when this is a prequel of all things. And I don't like prequels. I actually really despise them because I'm like, I already know where you're gonna go. I want to see what happened after. And what actually sold me was the actual, like, kind of spoilers here, but the beginning episode had a black and white little moment, and you're like, okay, where is this at in his life? Was this before he became a lawyer or whatever? Okay, whatever. And then suddenly he's watching old reruns of his advertisements, and you're like, this is after. Oh, that's cool. Okay, what else you got? And I liked it. I liked how they still put the same kind of care, not only into the character, but its own mythology, to incorporate that everything that you're about to see is going to fit just in. And I like that. I like that a lot. In fact, that wins me over on any prequel any day.
Sure.
So, Better Call Saul is definitely on my to-do list to watch.
Yeah.
So, I suppose... Moving on?
Yep.
Da Vinci's Demons.
Okay. Da Vinci's Demons is renewed for another season.
Seeing
now.
you spike up like that, it's like, oh, it's so exciting.
It is. But here's what's very interesting. By my reaction, you would think I love this show, right?
You've been surprising me, so...
No. I'm just asking. By your opinion, you would say yes, right?
I would, I suppose.
I've never seen a single episode.
Neither have I.
Here's what's very interesting about Da Vinci's Demons. I have the music, but I have never watched a single episode of the show.
That's pretty interesting.
Very interesting. The reason why, it's done by Bear McCreary.
Oh!
Who does the music for Walking Dead, who also does the music for Outlander.
Okay. This guy's always like...
Who also does the music for Black Sails.
Who also does the music for, though an older show,
Battlestar Galactica. So...
This guy. If there's anyone who knows how to make music...
It's Bear McCreary.
Yes.
So, actually, that's another one that I can talk about, too. Black Sails is coming back for a third season? Yeah, I think a third season.
Because I know for a fact they just had their second season.
Yeah.
In fact, you were like,
so they're coming back for
come
season
back
3.
to me.
I know, they're coming back for a season 3. So, yeah, I mean, I think Leonardo da Vinci himself is a very interesting character because he was so ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just kind of amazing at the things that he dove into and the studies that he wanted to do and the knowledge
very
that he wanted to
compelling
pursue.
things.
Yeah, so I would think for sure that he would be a very interesting character to learn about. And the music is gorgeous. That's the one thing I can say. Bear McCreary definitely knows how to tell a story
With his
through
music.
his music. Absolutely. And you can actually feel his passion in what he does. So it's there's a reason why certain composers are famous and some aren't. Like John Williams. Everyone knows John Williams, and John Williams has done some of the best scores ever.
Nod in silence, but I'm nodding. Like
Alan Silvestri has done some of the most famous scores in the world. Brian Tyler has done some of the best scores in the world.
Absolutely. It complements the film and the show or whatever the case may be. They make music that not only stands out, but it complements the situation and what's going on, captures the emotion.
Sure.
Not only that, if you listen to it on its own, you have an idea that something is happening that's powerful.
And what's really great is when you can take someone's music and when you're just listening to the music, you can envision something else in your head. You have the idea that you can create your own story using their music. That kind of imagination only comes from music that you feel from the soul. There's actually a fact that the only thing in the world that can utilize your entire brain is music.
It's a great tool.
Music is a beautiful thing. And so I'm very excited to actually be able to put Bear McCreary's music to visual art in Da Vinci's Demons. I only hope that the story can live up to the music.
Sometimes our expectations, though, get a little high.
It does. But I feel like for the most part, any show that can be renewed on a premium channel, because it's on Stars.
Right.
I believe any show that's on a premium channel that gets renewed, it's got to have something good for it.
It has to. Those Stars I always saw as kind of like the younger brother to HBO. Where, you know, like, you notice it, it's there, but it's like, oh, you're so cute, you're trying.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I feel like HBO is okay now. Like, there's really nothing on there other than Game of Thrones. Because they ended Boardwalk Empire. They ended Boardwalk Empire. What was another show that they ended?
True Blood was another thing.
Yeah, they just ended they screwed up True Blood royally.
And I've heard that. I've heard that.
They screwed it up royally, and I'm like, WTF. What is going on in this show? But they screwed up True Blood, then they ended it. They ended Boardwalk Empire right when it's getting to the good part. Like, oh my god, Al Capone could have taken over that entire show, and it would have been so interesting.
Oh,
it would have been so different, and it would have been so cool. to kind of see him take over. Although he does kind of move to Chicago, so it wouldn't really have been in Jersey anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really matter. They were still gangsters in Jersey. They could have made a case for it. And I'm actually surprised that they didn't give him like his own spinoff, because it was so good and it was so well done. Whatever. But they ended Boardwalk Empire. They ended True Blood.
And now they're actually looking to milk Game of Thrones because they're like, oh, well, we don't want this season to end. We want it to last. Like, the creators of the show, and even George R.R. Martin, they all agreed that they would want it as a 7-season run. Whether ever you're attacked...
7 to 10 episodes is enough, especially when they're like hour-long episodes.
Right.
Anything on HBO is literally like 55 to 59 minutes long.
Right.
There's no commercials.
Right. True Blood had 13 episodes, minus a few seasons that actually had 10. Now, mind you, 7 seasons of any show, I think, is great enough is a great run for any storyline.
Shit. If it gets a second season, that's awesome, because a lot of shows don't.
Right.
A lot of shows don't get a second season. So the fact that any show can make it to 3 seasons, let alone 7, is phenomenal.
Right. So you know that Game of Thrones is on the fast track of even getting beyond that point.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to stop for a second and go, well, why are we going this far? I mean, I feel like there's always going to be a story to tell, especially in the world of George R.R. Martin. But
sure.
I feel like somewhere along the lines, if season 7 does come out, and we'll definitely be around for that. It's just, where else are you going to go? You had the plan of doing 7. Are you planning to go beyond the books? Do the things that not necessarily by season 7, it would be covering where George R.R. Martin hasn't written. He even said that the show will spoil the books. So I understand that. But,
well, I think that's why he's rushing to finish the next book, so the show doesn't spoil it.
Right. And you could see the disappointment on his face, though he understands why this is all happening.
Yeah, and I think it's actually very flattering when people are just clamoring for more of your story. That means that you're a great storyteller.
Absolutely.
But I don't know.
It's hard, and we're kind of getting stuck in a rut with this whole thing about the shows and what channel they're a part of. HBO is okay. They have given us some great entertainment over the years.
I feel like they didn't give enough to certain shows, like Rome.
Oh,
Rome for them they considered it a disaster. To me, I thought it was a masterpiece.
I think it was a golden child.
It really was. That was the ruby in their crown, and they let it come out. I loved Rome. Mm-hmm. I own Rome in the premium pretty box set. I love Rome. Another show that completely blew my mind, Deadwood. Deadwood was amazing.
And they only had 3 seasons.
They didn't give it enough of a shot. It's so disappointing because they could have, oh my God, they could have done so much with Deadwood.
Gets you kind of passionate.
They could have done so much. But it's, I think they were getting a little too big for their britches.
Mm-hmm.
And they expected everything to be as great as The Sopranos.
No.
Okay. At the time, no one else, as far as I understand, because obviously I didn't watch every single channel.
Right.
You can't watch every single channel.
No, you
don't know every
exhausting.
single show that's ever come out. Yeah, I know. I'm not Ebert, okay? I can't do all that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that. So, within the scope of what I can physically watch at a time, Rome and Deadwood were the only big money historical pieces on television that worked both for them and against them, because it was like, oh, it's a historical piece, it's so cool. And then a lot of people were going, I'm not watching that historical shit. Whatever.
You're like,
But it's so good. You just want to sink your teeth in it because it's so good.
Delicious.
Rome is so dialogue heavy, and now people appreciate it. If you had put that shit on now, people would appreciate it, and they would be clamoring for a third season.
They'll be clamoring for a fourth and a fifth and a sixth, and don't ever end it because we know you got it in you to keep it going that long.
Absolutely. If they put Deadwood on now, granted, I think they should change a lot of the language because every other word does not need to be
the C word.
A cork sucker and a canoodling cunt.
Yes, and which is always seen as a very heavy, bad word.
Dude, there are curse words, and then there's the C word. You just in fact, funny enough. So I took a break from Penny Dreadful because
we will get to.
Yeah, we will get to. It was getting a little heavy, and I was like, "Whew, I need a break." The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion was on.
Okay.
And well, it was on, and it's light. It's stupid.
You wanna cool off with a chapter of Castle,
Like yeah. It's fluff. There's no
it's
all
your break.
All of these women together don't have a brain cell between them, so it's very light entertainment. But they were doing the reunion special, and
very guilty pleasure of you, I suppose.
It is. I love that kind of stuff because I'm like, God, these people are so dumb. And then one of the girls said, "Effing cunt." The whole room goes silent. And even the announcer, Andy Cohen, was like,
I don't even know how
to What did you just say? Because she kind of said it under her breath, and this was Brandy.
Uh-huh.
Anyone who knows Real Housewives of Beverly Hills will know exactly who I'm talking about. But she said it under her breath, and Andy Cohen was like, "What did you just say?" No. And she was like, "What?" It was like, bitch, we all heard you.
We heard you. The censors heard you.
Exactly. They censored it out. And he was like, "I'm sorry. What did you just say?" And all the girls are like, "I'm sorry. What did you just call her?" And she was like, "A cunt." And it was like, whew, I'm just going to back up a little bit here.
You are not allowed to have your break.
Dude, that's some heavy crapola. I'm trying to censor my words here. It's really hard.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Just in case some tiny ears are listening, it's really hard.
It really is.
It really is.
It really is.
I like saying the F word a lot.
I like saying F and the S word. I get you.
A lot.
I don't, however, like to say the C word at all. And
I don't either.
If I say it, it means it's a big problem.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what did she... I need to back up, dude. Like, I'm not even on the show, but I'm like, oh.
Snap.
Ish is going to get real in a minute. So, yeah. It's just...
It's a very huge word that actually used to mean something beautiful. Something that actually meant a lot more positive than negative.
Yeah, but wait.
I'm just saying.
If HBO wanted to put Deadwood back on, I would be very happy, but they would definitely need to change the language. We need to move on because we've spent much too long talking about this.
It's okay. I think
we're on Doctor Who. Obviously, we know Doctor Who is coming back.
Yes, it's 9th season.
Peter Capaldi is coming back.
So is Jenna Coleman, and
even though there was the rumor that Peter Capaldi was only coming back for one season,
and even for Jenna Coleman as well, like that was going to be her last season. As for Peter Capaldi, I absolutely love the guy. In fact, he's probably my second favorite Doctor as it stands.
I think I think that he's very interesting, and I think he brings a different flavor to the character.
Absolutely, but at the same time, you haven't really caught up that much with him, and there's reasons for that, and we don't have to get into that. though, Moffat.
Moffat!
Well, you can have, like, a quarrel with a writer because he keeps doing something that, you're like, oh, yeah, why'd you do that? He's just too crazy, too much.
Yeah, he's just too much. I really wish for the simpler days of Russell T Davies. But
I wish for the simpler days as well, but I think that it's coming back to much more simpler because season 8 was simpler. Though the finale was not simple.
Yeah, so I just...
It just wasn't.
I shouldn't have to think that hard when trying to piece stuff together.
Yeah. Yes.
When I watch a show, I want to watch for the entertainment. I mean, and of course, sometimes you have questions like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?" But I shouldn't have to go. Well, but there was that one piece in that one episode where he did this, but then there was that one piece in that one episode where they did this, and then
this all means something towards the finale.
Yeah, and then that episode is looped into the 6th episode, but the 6th episode is more linked into the 9th. Dude, I'm not doing all that. Nope.
Just dead eyes, bee face.
Glazed over, done.
Raised eyebrow.
Resting bee face.
No. Just no. And while I even can go through that and be like, I understand it, I get you, even season 5, when I look back on it, is like a little hefty on the details of how things came together. And then they explained it all by the end of Matt Smith's entire run, and you're like, dude, we moved on. We were on to Silence, we were on to...
Dude, the Pandorica opens, I still don't know what that's about. I still don't know. And then they made such a big deal about the Silence, and they were done in 2 episodes, and I'm like...
Why? What?
Why did you make such a big deal about the Silence, and then... What?
Complaints aside, I feel that even Capaldi was like, we need to take it down a notch because Doctor Who was all about the sense of adventure, the quirkiness, the weirdness of the storylines, and having someone who is an alien himself be completely oblivious to the things even that was alien to him. And that's kind of like us. We're like, we'll deal with it, we'll react to it, but then we find out and then we move on. Mm-hmm. And it was much more simpler. Season 8 was a kind of a nice little grab to, here's a small taste of what we used to do. And it's back again. Yeah. Here's hoping season 9 does that. However, I doubt it because I heard Moffat say, we're going to do a lot of new 2-parters. We're going to do 2-parters. We're going to do 2-parters. Oh, you're not going to see this coming. And I'm like, uh-oh. Oh, Jesus. Boy. Here we go. So,
all right, well, before I completely flip my lid, let's move to Downton Abbey.
That's fine.
Moffat. That's enough of an explanation, Moffat.
Right. So, Downton Abbey, this is more your territory.
Is back for its final season.
Oh, I think Sarah needs a hug.
I'm really sad because, well, I'm sad and I'm excited because everyone's contract was pretty much up for the 6th season. Mm-hmm. Maggie Smith's contract was up after the 6th season. So was Michelle Dockery's. So was, what is Edith's name? I don't care. It's Edith. Everybody's contract was pretty much up at the end of season 6. And Julian Fellows is actually moving on to another scripted period piece called The Gilded Age.
Okay.
Which actually takes place, I think, in early 1900s New York.
All right. Sounds compelling.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's moving on to new projects, and so... And I know that Julian Fellows likes to be very personal with his projects. So it was kind of everyone's contract is pretty much up anyways. A lot of people want to go out and they want to do other things too. Might as well end it here.
Right. All good things come to an end, but I think Downton Abbey, I don't want to say this as in, it's time for it to go. I mean, it could have gone for 7 seasons or 8, sure, but there is a time where you realize that you are right where you need to be in a show. And it's 6 seasons is a great circle of story arcs. Season 7's like that, here's that little bit extra, and this is where we pull out all the stops and we do good. But
I just hope that maybe they'll come back and they'll do, Christmas specials.
Because that would be so cool.
Like, yearly Downton Abbey Christmas special. And it'll be like...
I could see that happening.
And it'll be like a 2-hour made-for-TV movie.
Which is cool. Speaking of TV movie, I think more theater movie, Luther is getting that kind of treatment.
I think so too. I've heard a lot of talk about it, but I don't know if they have enough backing yet. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens.
Luther was awesome.
Luther was amazing, and I don't feel that it got the attention that it deserved.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of people just didn't get it. Like, they didn't get what was going on. And it was like...
But you but you must get it. It's like the best thing ever. Not only culturally, because, I mean, you get to follow a black male lead, you know, because everyone's really pining for these, especially in this century.
Well, especially with all of the racial tension that's going on. They want a lot of shows that put African Americans in a good light. And
this puts him in a good light.
Even though he has done some questionable things, it's great to see that kind of strong African American character who really is just... He's such a great guy in general, and he's
got the blueprints of being an absolute badass in his basement, you know.
and he's a strong character. He's a strong man, and you know everything that he's done has been very well done, and has always kind of painted him in a good light. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, they've been clamoring for that, but I was very surprised that it didn't get the attention it deserved. Absolutely,
but I guess my last thoughts on Luther especially is it had its run, but I think that like Deadwood or anything else, it didn't get its longevity that it deserved either.
Sure.
So, all things considered, Idris Elba, is that how you say his name? Idris Elba, he had the caliber to portray this character, Luther, who is super smart and in his area of expertise, which he was a DCI, a detective, and he's very good at what he does. He can deduce, but the way the story was told, they just got better and better and better each episode. Yeah. And you got to see not only vulnerability, but how he quickly adapted to what was happening with him, and I love seeing that. Absolutely. So, anyway, Downton Abbey, it's ending. You're very sad about that, but also very excited
because a new project's coming out.
Yep, Fear the Walking Dead,
the spinoff of The Walking Dead, which takes place in Los Angeles. Now, this actually hasn't come out yet.
No.
I am assuming that what they will try to do is they will try to put it around the same time as Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Not long after its ending period now of season 5, we don't have long till Fear the Walking Dead comes out. It's going to be relatively soon, probably in the next month or so.
Yeah, so I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to do Fear the Walking Dead, and then by the time Fear the Walking Dead ends, The Walking Dead will come back.
Right. And I hear that it's an origin story. It could show the outbreak itself. Which should be cool to see, though it kind of... What's the word I'm looking for? It will probably diffuse the tension of how it started to begin with, letting our imaginations now see, oh, this is how it happened. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to see how they do it, and it's got the same showrunners.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know, it's got all of the same show writers and showrunners, so... It should be really good. Hopefully they have the cast to maintain this kind of story.
Here's hoping.
I'm fine with spin-offs when they're done correctly.
As I am with prequels.
Right. You know, Doctor Who had Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures and...
which was kids, everyone in between, and then adults. You know, Torchwood was for adults and Sarah Jane Adventures for kids.
For kids. Sure. So, I mean... And they're all kind of intertwined together. They're all put together, and they all kind of have like interchangeable characters and stuff. Not that I think Walking Dead can do that. They can't really do interchanging characters.
No.
However, I do think it'll be very interesting to see people put in the same exact situations as The Walking Dead, but seeing as how they're in a major city.
beyond Atlanta, which, you know, is minor in a city compared to Los Angeles.
If you compare it to Los Angeles, yes, but Atlanta is humongous.
Sure.
Atlanta is literally, it's huge. Don't ever try to get through Atlanta in traffic. I'm telling you, it will not happen. In fact, a few years ago...
Sarah would know. I kind of put my foot in my mouth there.
Yeah, I was going to say, a few years ago... Well, actually, I've done it a couple times. I've made the drive from Maryland to Alabama a couple different times. And one time a couple years ago, I was in the middle of Atlanta. I did not move for 3 hours. My car was stuck in the same spot for 3 hours. You want to know why? They were filming The Walking Dead in Atlanta.
Son of a gun.
Now, of course, this was a brand new project. I did not know this yet. But they had actually shut down a couple major roads. So you couldn't get through Atlanta.
Oh, brother. Frank Darabont, why?
You could not get through Atlanta. So I'm stuck in traffic and I'm like, WTF, why can't I get through? Walking Dead was being filmed. And of course, I didn't know this yet, and I don't know who did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have very high hopes for it, and especially Los Angeles. I'm very interested to see how they're going to do that.
I guess I should never knock a city compared to another city. I just feel that even though Atlanta is...
Los Angeles is humongous.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to compare the two cities, Atlanta is definitely the smaller of the two, but I wouldn't leave Atlanta out. Atlanta is huge.
Never.
Just like DC.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to compare DC and Atlanta, DC is smaller than Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But try to get through traffic at 2 o'clock. It ain't gonna happen.
Nobody won't go through.
Exactly. Now, if there was a national emergency, yeah, you definitely ain't getting through.
You're gonna be stuck right there.
Yeah, you might as well just kind of wait for the majority of it to blow over, and then try to like hide from car to car to car.
Right. And good luck weaving, because you ain't doing that either.
Yeah, like take a bike and then just kind of like hide under cars when need be. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's kind of how you have to.
Hopefully, no one's picking you out of the car after the day's through, because it's gonna get brutal.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, Fear the Walking Dead, absolutely. I'm anticipating it. I'll watch it, kind of like I would do with Better Call Saul. I'll probably watch the first episode, get a feel for it, and then later on I might revisit it.
Sure.
You know, that's kind of like my MO now. Here we are, finally, to the main event, Game of Thrones.
I'm excited.
Because, I guess I should explain just a little bit my anticipation for Sarah to see this. Mind you, I'm not expecting a huge response. But, you know, it has its merits and it has its ways of coming at you. When people die in the show, people die. You're like, okay, I get it. Where I was okay with it for a point, I was at this consensus that, okay, I think they're going to try and keep a few people around. Yeah, even the newer characters.
you can't hang on to anybody in Game of Thrones.
Even the ones that are around, even since season 1, you're still kind of starting to fear a little bit.
I mean, even Walking Dead, like they will kill anybody else if it means they don't have to kill Rick or Daryl.
Right. Which
they will kill everyone else. Spoilers, if you didn't see it, which you should have, they killed Beth. When you kill Beth...
Well, that was our first podcast!
I know. When you kill Beth, they would rather kill Beth than Daryl, and that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
That is huge. I guarantee you they will kill Glenn before they kill Daryl.
Yeah, I guess.
They will kill Glenn, they will kill Maggie, they will kill everyone else. Daryl will still be alive. I guarantee it. Because there are too many fangirls, and I guarantee you if Daryl dies, no one else will watch.
I believe that. Because any conversation you ever have...
I am so serious. Any serious conversation that they have with the writers, they're like, well, you know, everyone's expendable.
Not really.
And then, you know, you have people like Chris Hardwick who's like, except Daryl. And you hear the producer wanting to be like, well, no. But then it's like, oh, well, what? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think, they're the two people that are safe is Rick and Daryl.
For sure.
As for Game of Thrones, I think the two people are definitely safe as of right now is Daenerys and Arya, and even Sansa. And those are some people that I get it. Everyone loves Daenerys, but she's just okay to me. I don't mind her. I like her storyline, but she hasn't really spoken to me yet.
Her storyline definitely in season 4 has gotten much better than it has ever been.
Yes, absolutely.
I think she did the most changing in season 1.
Yes, a lot of adapting too.
And then her story has been the best in season 4. So I am excited to see what they have in store for her in season 5.
I can definitely get behind that thought. Definitely.
But see, I do disagree with you.
About what?
On the main characters that they cannot kill. I think it's Daenerys and Tyrion.
I didn't mean to forget about Tyrion.
So I was like, see, I disagree. I think it's Tyrion. They cannot kill Tyrion.
No.
Because Peter Dinklage really is
the driving force.
He's amazing. I'm not going to lie. If he died, I wouldn't watch the show anymore.
I think there would be a lot of grasping at straws.
I literally would not. I love Daenerys, but if Tyrion dies, F it. I don't care. I'm not watching it anymore.
One thing I'm actually quite anticipating is to see if they actually meet Daenerys and
Tyrion.
That would make it.
And actually, the other thing too, if they killed Jon Snow.
Really?
Yes, because I really like Jon Snow. I always like the outsider. Jon is always the outsider.
Yeah.
Just like I love Tyrion, and I think that.
I mentioned all females when I said that they're safe. There's many more. I should have said that. I should have said that.
No. You're fine. You're fine. I feel like I need to be a little more like Jon Snow personally.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Snow a lot of times bites his tongue and doesn't say anything and just kind of lets it go. And personally, I think that I need to be that way sometimes. And
this guy too.
Well,
this guy too.
I think everyone has those moments where it's like, dude, you need to keep it shut and let it go.
I think a lot of us can relate to Jon Snow because we have always been that outsider at some point.
Everyone has felt like an outsider, and I feel like I need to take a couple more cues from Jon Snow.
Of course, even as Tyrion's standpoint, but Tyrion is a lot more clever and witty about it. But Jon Snow, he kind of just soaks it in and he takes it.
Sure.
Tyrion, he finds a way to kind of get back at you, even if it's the most subtlest of ways.
Oh, yeah.
So, as it stands, though, I say we should cover Season 3 like we said we would, but this could be even lesser than 10 minutes. We didn't really care for Season 3. Even when I was watching it, I'm like, nothing's happening.
There's only 2 or 3 things in my mind that really stick out in Season 3, and those are the only things you need to know about Season 3, to be honest with me.
Go for it.
So, number 1 is the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
Where pretty much all of the Starks die.
Pretty much, except for it's the children, but yeah.
Yeah, except for the children. So, like, Catelyn Stark dies, no loss there. Because I'm not a big fan of her. Robb Stark dies. His wife dies in a very brutal way. Like
that was what said it, you know.
Yeah,
that was
she's very heavily pregnant, and they actually stab her in the stomach to not only kill her but also kill her baby. So I mean, it's very brutal, but
that's all you get out of it.
It was the Lannisters paid members of this, like the Stark family tree, because Walder Frey and stuff. They're kind of
part of the childhood of the Starks, I suppose.
Yeah, and Catelyn was kind of like, kind of relate like cousins and whatever.
Close friends,
family friends.
Second cousins, twice removed. I don't
know. They're all connected in some way, like uncles, cousins, family, friends. But anyways, it was a paid assassination by the Lannisters, so that was a huge deal, and that lands a huge blow to the North.
It does. And it was definitely a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Because two key players that you didn't think that were going to get that kind of axe off did. And that's kind of a big thing. But the one thing that'll stand... the one thing that, like you said before we started this podcast, the one thing that really stands out is how brutal it was.
It's very brutal.
Right. And that's one thing that sticks out to you. What's another? Another
thing that really sticks out to me is Jon Snow actually goes above the wall and he meets Mance Rayder.
Yes.
Rayder. Mance Rayder.
Yes, Radar, yeah.
Who is the leader of the Wildling army.
Right, and you're wondering, why is this all happening?
I mean, at the end of season 2, we see the White Walkers, so we know that they're a threat. But Jon Snow doesn't really know that yet. Until season 3.
Yep.
And he sees the gravity of the situation. But you have to... Anyone else would say, well, why are the wildlings gathering together? Why do you need an army that big? That's not the question. The question is, how big is what they're fighting? Because they're not going to get together for no reason. So what are they fighting? That's the bigger question.
That is a bigger question that causes a lot of intrigue. There's a big intrigue behind that. And it's a great execution, and I'm not spoiling anything, but you do see that in season 4, a whole episode dedicated to where all that's coming from.
Exactly. Other than that, I mean, is there anything that really sticks out?
One thing that sticks out to me is Jamie.
He gets his hand cut off.
You know, big whoop, but there was a bit of a development for him where
he became more human and less Kingslayer.
Less Kingslayer, more human, a little bit more of where was he coming from when he did what he did. When he stabbed the Mad King Ares in the back, what was the reasons? He tells that story, and I like that story. And I could dig that.
That's it.
But that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was covered less than 10 minutes.
Yep, that is literally season 3 in a nutshell. Congratulations, guys.
You made it through us.
High five.
Sweet. Okay, moving on from Game of Thrones, we're anticipating season 5. Season 4 is a lot. We're going to dedicate a whole entire podcast to season 4. Yes. Hemlock Grove.
Coming back for a 3rd season.
Never watched it.
I'm intrigued. Hemlock Grove is very different. Now, it's werewolves and vampires.
A very interesting mix always, but it always has the same outcome.
But see, the thing that's different is it's not campy.
Uh-huh.
It's not a love story.
Uh-huh.
And no one sparkles.
Uh-huh.
And they're actually pretty freaking scary.
Oh.
It's pretty great.
Though I heard it's slow.
It is very slow. The developments are very, very slow. But it's very good. And, you know, typically when you see a werewolf transformation, it's very quick or it's in the shadows. You don't really see it happen.
Right. There's some of it. I know, too.
Or if you see it happen, it's very CGI'd and it's very ridiculous.
I've heard that, what's that one that has vampire, ghost, and a werewolf? Being Human.
Being Human.
I know that they have done prosthetically transformation, and they...
And it's done pretty well. This one's done better.
The BBC version, mind you.
Yeah. The American version just sucked. I don't even know why they even... Well, I know why they made it, because they wanted to make money, but...
Anyway.
They could have done the BBC version, and it would have been 20,000 times better. But moving on.
Right.
Hemlock Grove does it better.
No, really.
Hemlock Grove does the best human-to-wolf transformation. And he doesn't look like a werewolf. He literally turns into a wolf.
Okay.
Like
he doesn't look like a wolf. He becomes a wolf.
He becomes a wolf. He is not a wolf-human hybrid. He is a human who turns into a wolf.
Hello.
Mind blown. I've never seen it before.
Thank you, production value.
Like, thank God. Plus, like,
stuff.
You can actually see, like, his skin coming off, and you can see, like, his fingers, nails growing out, and you can actually see, like, his eyes pop out because he gets these new wolf eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he starts tearing his skin off. Like,
It's gross, yet fascinating, yet horrifying, yet beautiful.
It's beautiful. As someone who does work with liquid latex, someone who works in special effects and who's worked in theater, it's beautiful to watch this happen.
Yeah.
So,
and for someone who's as practical, who likes to see that kind of transformation, who loves filmmaking and loves making it too, abso-frickin-lutely. That's even intriguing for me, and I haven't even seen the show.
it's so good.
We are watching it after this now.
It is so good. It is so totally worth it. It's very, very well done. And it's another show where there's a lot more questions than there are answers. But once you get an answer, it's like, whoa.
Hello.
I didn't expect that. There's a lot of...
If it can take you to school on their answers...
Yes, it really does. It's like, I did not see this coming.
And I think that's... Okay, when it comes to style and the substance, I love the style of the long, drawn-out process. I guess I'm boring like that, but...
No, that's not boring.
The thing is that when you draw something out just enough... You give not only a chance to adapt to characters and the way they do things, you get a chance to get into the story, but you're more focused on the character, a part of that story. So you're not thinking, oh, what's the next big twist?
Right.
So when that twist happens...
It blows your mind, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do with it?
Thank you. And that's all I'm saying. And that's all I have to say about that. With that said...
We have just come to a general consensus that we have so many shows to talk about that we're actually going to wrap this up. And we're going to make this part 1, and we're actually going to stop here, and then we're going to work on episode 2. Yeah, like part 2 of this.
When it's up, you guys feel free to listen to it, and...
Yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know if there's a specific topic or a show that you want us to talk about. Because
absolutely.
If you guys have a recommendation, I'm totally fine with binge watching it and then telling you how I feel.
Yes, and then also, just letting you guys know, I guess I have to also promote this too. I have a new show coming out. It's called How to Get Into. That's basically kind of what we're doing here. We talk about a single show. I cover it. And I talk about the season in general, the pilot episode, and then I go through each episode as I need to and just tell you what it's about. And it's up to you if you want to get into it, but at least you'll have an idea of what the show is about.
Sure.
And that's what I'm trying to do. So, you guys, you are awesome. Whoever listens, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
This is the end of part 1. See you the next podcast.
Woo!